Top 3 causes of hair loss in Black women. Welcome to the Hair Restoration Counselor podcast, where hair science meets healing and faith meets beauty. I'm your host, Shannon, and today we're going to be breaking down the 3 major causes of hair loss that is affecting Black women and how to fix them. So, the first one is traction alopecia. What causes traction alopecia? Protective styles. Okay, so protective styles are braids, crochets, sew ins, ponytails, anything that requires the hair to be pulled tight is a protective style. Now, let me just say that I'm not against protective styles. I wear protective styles myself. I understand the convenience of them. I understand wanting to do something different. The problem comes in when you prioritize convenience over the health of your scalp and your hair. Now, if you choose convenience over the health of your scalp and hair, that is perfectly fine. However, what happens is you choose convenience now and then later you have to pay the consequences. And sometimes with traction alopecia, it's too late. Once the damage is done, it is done, and the hair may not grow back. So, the best thing that you can do is to not make common protective styling mistakes to keep your scalp and your hair as healthy as possible. And I'm going to go over a few of those with you. And the first one is going to be learn when it's time to take your protective styles out. When your hair has grown out so much and it feels like it's pulling and tugging, it's time to take it out. When you see the little white bulbs at the end of the hair shaft, before you even take your protective style out, and it's usually around the hairline, it's time to take them out. If your scalp is irritated, and when I say irritated, I mean persistently itching and it doesn't go away, if you feel a burning sensation or is tender to the touch or it's painful, it's time to take them out. Okay? The next mistake is not giving your scalp and your hair the proper care that it needs in between the protective styles. So, first, scalp care. And when it comes to protective styles, I'm going to always recommend a scalp detox when you take them out. Reason being is because most women are not shampooing their hair or properly cleansing their scalp while they have the protective style in. And if they are, they're not able to do it as well as they would have been able to do it if they didn't have the protective style in. So always a scalp detox. Next, you need to give your hair what it needs. If your hair is experiencing dryness, you may need a deep conditioning treatment or steam hydration treatment. If you are experiencing breakage or your hair feels fragile and brittle, you may need a protein treatment. If your hair just looks dull, you may need to do another deep conditioning treatment. Also, keep your ends trimmed. When your ends are not trimmed, your hair breaks, okay? Then, last but not least, give it a rest. Give your hair a break. It is okay to not wear a protective style for 3 to 4 weeks, okay? Give your hair a break from the constant pulling and tugging. Give your scalp the care that it needs for those 3 to 4 weeks straight. And then you can return to the protective styles. It doesn't do your hair or your scalp any justice to put in braids, take them out 4 weeks later, put them right back in without giving your hair and your scalp a breather. Anything that's constantly being pulled on is going to eventually come out, okay? The next major cause of hair loss that is affecting Black women are hormonal imbalances. We're talking about menopause, postpartum, PCOS, thyroid. So, what hormonal imbalances do to the hair follicles is it blocks the hair follicles, keeps it from getting the proper oxygen and nutrients that it needs to stay open and healthy and growing healthy hair. Eventually, with the blockage and the follicles not getting what it needs, the hair follicles begin to shrink. When they begin to shrink, the smaller they get, the hair eventually falls out. And what happens from there is if your hormones continue to be imbalanced, the hair eventually stops growing and eventually causes hair loss. So, what do you do to prevent that? I'm going to recommend that you go to either your OBGYN or your primary care doctor and get some hormonal testing done. See if your hormones are imbalanced, and if they are, discuss with them your options of what you can do to balance your hormones, okay? Health is wealth. The last major cause of hair loss that is affecting Black women is stress. You should have known that one was coming, especially considering on the first episode I discussed all of the women's struggles, all of the challenges that women face on a day to day basis. So, major life changes or consistent tension in a specific area in your life can cause stress. Relationships, divorce, loss, your career, anxiety, depression, those are all things that can take a toll on your mental health and cause you to be stressed out. So, what does this do to the hair follicle? How does this affect the hair follicle? So, what happens is it causes inflammation and it also affects the hair growth cycle, causing a hair loss condition called telogen effluvium, where the hair prematurely goes into the resting phase of the hair growth cycle and just starts to shed. Most of the time, this condition may last about 6 months and is usually rectified once the stress has been reduced. But we don't want to wait 6 months though. We don't want to wait 6 months because we want to get on fixing the issue immediately, okay? It also can affect the stem cells of the hair, keeping your hair from growing, your follicles from growing new hair, experiencing new hair growth. And that's where the hair loss comes in. So, how do you prevent that? Relieve some stress, reduce some stress. I know that sometimes it's easier said than done. I have my own struggles with stress at times, but I have found that in doing the things that I enjoy, doing the things that bring me peace, and other things like walking or just having quiet time helps reduce my stress. So I recommend, of course, quiet time, peace and quiet. If you have children, try to get away from the children. I know sometimes it's hard. I have a closet. I go in my closet and I pray, and that helps me relieve stress. Some people will say meditate. I'm going to say pray because God heals all and God has all the answers. And when you pray, He'll give you peace about whatever it is that you're going through. Also, do some exercise, and it doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Like I said, I like to go for a walk. Go walking. Take a walk, get on a treadmill, do something to get your blood circulation flowing, okay? And also see a counselor. You may not be a fan of counseling, or you may be. But if you're not, I want to encourage you to at least try this method. They may have some techniques that they can give you to help you reduce some stress, or they can just simply talk you through the things that you are experiencing in life that you feel like you're having a difficult time overcoming. Okay? So, those are the three major causes of hair loss affecting Black women. And now that you know what they are, hopefully you can take the nuggets that I've given in this podcast and then apply them to your life so that you can see how your hair health and your overall health changes. Also, I want to give you a tip of the week for your hair care. I want you to take the time to massage your scalp for 5 to 10 minutes daily. It's going to increase blood circulation to the scalp, and it is going to help your hair to grow healthy and flourish, okay, and keep your hair follicles healthy. So, with today's episode, it's only befitting that we try a hair growth challenge. I have a 7-day hair growth challenge workbook, Grow in Confidence, Faith, and Hair Health. I want you to take control of your hair growth journey. And this journal and challenge workbook is your step by step guide to building healthy habits, tracking your progress, and restoring your crown from the inside out. So, how do you get hold of this 7-day hair growth challenge workbook? It is available on my website, divineimagesbyshannon.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hair Restoration Counselor podcast. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Share this podcast with your friends, your family, your sisters, your coworkers, whoever you feel like may need it. And until the next episode, go and be great and be who God has called you to be.